Hey, and welcome to Against the Odds Lessons in Mental Toughness here on Audioversity, where we understand that life's challenges only get harder, which is exactly why we have to get stronger. Each week, we talk with extraordinary people to uncover how they use mental toughness to leverage obstacles into opportunities and how you can too. I'm Doron, the MT Doc Maman, a researcher, lecturer, and author on mental toughness, and like you, I'm here to learn and grow. So let's get to today's episode. Today I'm hosting a very special guest, and I'm honored to welcome Nir Yogev, founder and CEO of Pain Free Back and Gavchik, which we're going to talk quite a lot about. Nir is a self-healing expert who has mentored over 6,000 people to heal themselves. Again, I'm saying that to heal themselves from back pain, some out of wheelchairs, walking canes, and so forth, all at the comfort of their own home. He has over 250,000 people who have used his quick fix, which we'll talk also about, to help them get through pain and using these only 1-minute online exercises. And aside from that, if it wasn't enough, he is also an Aikido master with a third-degree black belt, served as a major in the artillery in the IDF. And on a personal note, I can tell you that Nir has saved me several times from different injuries. There's been times he literally grabs me by the pinky like the Kung Fu Panda. That's why I call him Shifu, and just goes stick-a-douche. And then all of a sudden I'm in pain for 30 seconds and I'm back to new. So this is a truly special guest who I'm sure you are going to learn so much from his mentality. And I'm happy and excited to welcome Nir Yogev. What's up, man?
All right. I'm so happy to be here. And the most important for me is to understand that we have been friends for some time.
That's right.
And that's the most important thing. The most fundamental thing about serving humans, about being with humans, is first and foremost, be open-hearted. Be the best you can. Just help a person. If there's a connection, just be there, give everything, and carry on to the next step. That's what it's all about.
I can finish the podcast right now. Thank you for listening.
So I have to say, we got to know each other through a common friend.
That's
and he told me about your book that you published at the time. And I said, if this guy at such a young age is writing a book and I started going through the book, I got to know this person. And, you know, it's amazing that this person connected us also. And from there, I can say, before we even begin about talking about the topic itself, once you like someone, once there's a good connection, once you feel that this is a real friend and someone that you can really trust and something real is happening, that's where you give everything about yourself, and you even give things that are not even logical or mental. You just give everything, your spirit, everything that you have. You just give, and you're not giving away from something that's finishing, meaning that give everything you can, and you won't waste your energy. You will gain your energy, because once you give wholeheartedly, then nothing stops you. You will gain more energy than you began with.
So let's bring the people to our quality of conversation, because I think there's something that people have to understand. They don't understand all the know-how, the energy, the level of commitment that you have to this product. And even now, you know, we're talking in a world that's actually much more focused on getting than it is on giving. For those of you that are listening right now, Nir and I, whenever we have the blessed opportunity to talk together, whether it's face-to-face, over coffee, wherever it is, it's these deep philosophical conversations. And if you manage to extract the application from this philosophy, you are going to meet a new level of mental toughness. But if you didn't hear what he said before, he keeps talking about giving and giving and giving.
Exactly.
However, we're in a world that's much more caring about what do I get out of it, right? There's a WIIFM, what's in it for me?
With him, yeah.
Right? So before what's in it for you, I mean, I want to start from here. And again, this goes back to my research. Why do you care so much to give people the solution, to remove people from pain-free? Because I go over your credentials. I didn't say you're a chiropractor. I didn't say you're a doctor. You're an Aikido master. You served in the army. You did amazing things. But what brought you to this place that you want to give?
First of all, when you go through something really hard like back pain, like chronic back pain for so many years, I began my back pain around the age, well, it actually began with twisting my ankle for over 200 times. It just went out, and the tendons are loose, by the way, over there. And I just realized that I was searching for help, and I could not find it because I kept on getting injured. And I was an athlete. My first race was at the age of 5. I had an amazing mentor. He was my grandfather, and he mentored me since I was a little child how to do sports. And I'm nearly 49, and it's been 44 years that I've been doing sports practically every day. And that education of connecting to your body and using it as the best tool that you have in this life, regardless of anything else that you have other than that, is something that you must cherish. Otherwise, you decrease, you go down.
That's right.
So once I started noticing that I can't use this tool due to back pain, ankle pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, shoulder dislocations over 100 times, sciatic pain over 15 years, lower back pain, it began when I was a teenager. I used to run long distance runs to compete all over Israel. And I noticed that I couldn't use my body in the same way. After the army, I was a major in the army. And I couldn't stand it. I wanted to do my sports and I couldn't. So I was searching for solutions. Obviously, I went to doctors. I had a 24/7, that pill that could relieve pain. I had no idea what it means to relieve pain and keep it relieved, keep the body moving in a dynamic way, but pain-free. And I couldn't find a solution. So long story short, I couldn't find the solution. So slowly, as time went by, unconsciously, I created it. And I noticed that even though, I had a real hard injury, 2002, 2003, I was barely walking. I'm also a computers engineer from the Israeli Technion. And
if it wasn't enough, yeah.
yeah. And I just, I was doing Aikido at the time, and I injured myself occasionally, which was okay for me because I got used to it. But then I had a really hard injury where I couldn't walk. I was stuck on the mattress, and they dragged me to the hospital.
Wow.
2 Voltaren shots in my glutes. And I thought, they treated me right. So now I can get up and walk. And the exact opposite happened. And I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. I was crawling to the bathroom. I couldn't use go to the bathroom, use my sphincters. Everything was problematic. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't walk. I had to aid myself with helping gadgets to move around the house. And eventually I noticed that I was becoming sort of crippled. And I couldn't accept that. So in the back of my mind, I was searching for doctors, orthopedics, and etc. I went to a chiropractor. I started going to acupuncture, getting massage, but the pain kept coming back all the time.
Right.
So if you're out there and you're listening, I'll tell you about my story, but listen to yourself first and foremost. Because if you haven't found a solution yet, and that's the case of over 90% of people in the world, because we're wired in the last 150, 200 years to find solution with someone else, meaning that someone else will treat us for this pain and give us the solution exterior of us. And that is a huge, huge misconception. And we must acknowledge that gravity pulls us down 24/7. That's the primary most acknowledgement.
That's right.
If you understand that, then you understand that 2 vertebrae, if they're aligned together and there's gravity, eventually they will be compressed one against the other, pressing the nerve and creating pain. So you have 2 options. Either don't do anything and hope that it'll change, or do something about it towards yourself. And I'll get to helping others, why I'm so passionate about it, because first and foremost, I'm passionate about helping myself. And I know what it means to lead a life with so much pain for so many years, whereas leading a life completely pain-free, and if something occasionally happens, because I train 6 days a week, then you know how to fix it.
Well, I mean, it's not
so
that things
fast.
will occasionally, things will happen.
Things will happen. You will make wrong movements. Occasionally, I do make wrong movements. I bend down and something really small happens, or I do martial arts, I do training, I do running, and sometimes you make like a very, very small action that's a bit problematic, but you fix it within hours, within an hour, maximum a day or two, if you're not well trained, you get rid of the pain. Isn't that amazing? That used to be my dream 25 years ago, whereas I was stuck in bed, couldn't move, and I wished that something would help me. And I was thinking to myself, much before the age of the internet, I was thinking, wait, how can I fix this? I need like an angel to come and help me and get me out of this. This is how the quick fix was born.
But there's something deeper and underlying, because again, and I'm saying this as a client, a positive product that has been resulted from your care. Because like I said, I'll never forget the time you grabbed me by my pinky. I was like, my God, like everything's about to explode, and then boom, it's gone. But the thing here that you're saying here time and time again is the underlying mentality that is guiding you. And again, it's because I know how to dissect what you're saying. You're talking about the accountability of healing yourselves, and you're talking about again time and time this drive of what do I have to do, looking for that answer, willing to explore more realms. And I want to dive into there, because I know that if you're willing to put in the physical work, everything will come. But what drives that physical work, or something that I experience on my body, it's something I tell my students all the time, is that the goal of the body is to carry the mind. Now, if the mind is working right, then the body will follow. And we've talked about this for hours upon hours. And I want to talk about what is that mentality, and what role does that mentality play in the healing? As in, if a person does the quick fix, we're not talking about band-aids. One of the things that you and I always talk about in our conversations is that this works for whoever puts in the work.
Exactly.
So what is that mentality that without it, don't even bother?
Okay, let's begin with the marketing acronym WIFM. What's in it for me?
That's right.
The what's in it for me, people got it all wrong. Because let's say when I became an Aikido teacher, and I didn't even think I was worthy of being an Aikido teacher, because I was an engineer, I was injured, what the hell's going on? And my mentor at the time, he said, you have to be a teacher. And I said, I'm not going to help anyone. I can barely help myself. And he said, that's the whole point. If you have the student mindset, what's in it for me is I want to learn more and more. I am hungry to learn. When I learn, if I teach myself, the best way to teach yourself in the true what's in it for me is helping others. Mm-hmm. Once you transmit, you receive by putting it out there. And it may sound strange, but once you put it out there, you teach yourself better. And if you're passionate about learning, the best way to learn at a certain stage, not at a rookie stage, but a bit further down the road, is helping others. Mm-hmm. So if you see helping others as helping yourself, you will forever be hungry and be more passionate about helping more and more people. So why did I have an Aikido dojo for 20 years? Because I wanted to learn for myself. Why did I form Aikido teachers? Because I wanted to help myself. Why am I so passionate about helping others? Because I'm always hungry to find out more and more and more.
I got to show you this, because I'm not even making this up. If you go onto my YouTube, what's the first thing written underneath my name?
Student first.
That's
exactly.
Right.
And I loved it. I saw that.
That's right. That's
exactly. Now, you don't have to search otherwise. You don't have to transmit any. Don't do what you're doing if you're not hungry about learning more about it. If you're just there passing on material, mm-hmm. You're not in your place.
That's right.
You're not passionate about you and your life. So everything begins about mindset. Do you want to go up or down? Are you building or you're destroying your life?
By the way, that dichotomy is a dichotomy. It's 1 or 0. There is no middle ground.
1 or 0. 1 or 0 is electricity or not electricity.
Exactly.
Energy or non-energy. I begin my mornings 5 a.m. I teach I have Gavchik in Israel. I have Pain-Free Back worldwide in English and Hebrew. I spend with my kids about 4 to 5 hours a day just teaching them, just learning with them, just being with them. That is my priority. My family is my priority. The people I love most are my priority, but I am also my first and foremost priority, because I wake up in the morning, I do my mental work, my writing, I do my mental studying, I do my 1.5 hour of training, I run, I do physical exercise, I train 6 days a week, I write throughout the day several times. I do a lot of practices that my so-called product is actually my life. And I tell that to my students all the time. I do it towards myself. If you guys want, now in the internet era, you can join me to my room doing what I do anyways, with or without you.
Right.
I don't care if you're joining me or not. I'll give you everything once you do. But if you don't, just go on and join somewhere else where you're good with yourself, where you're loyal to yourself and attentive to yourself, and do your true work. That's the only way there is. Any other way is trying to serve other people, to show them that you're okay. It's something external and it burns you out. So why am I passionate about helping others? Because I help myself. And we are in an ongoing process of learning ourselves all the time in any way that you feel. By the way, we got to know each other because I was so passionate about putting my message out there in marketing.
I wanted to learn your ways also.
That you wanted to learn my marketing ways. And I said, man, I'll do anything to help you, because if I'm able to put my message out there and you have a big calling, I'm going to do anything I can from my marketing passion, which is another realm that I was into, to help you guys manifest and move on forward doing your stuff.
Right.
That's it. I used, at the beginning when I came back from France, I spent 1.5 years in France learning Aikido, 20 courses a week. And
Wait, what do you mean 20 courses a week?
20 lessons a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did this, 3 to 5 times a day, and the weekends 6 to sometimes 10 hours a day, training in France. I lived in Lyon for 1.5 years, and my life has completely changed. I learned the basics of Chinese medicine. I got to treat people. I got to know how to address people in a far more inner way. And then I started learning it when I came back to Israel in 2005. I started learning Yamima and Hasidut and all that. So I started learning the interior structure of the inner soul, and I do that up until today. And apparently, and in an unbelievable way, from this passion of helping someone, I started seeing people on the street with back pain, and I just like you
Just grab them by the finger.
I grabbed them by the finger. I made a small fix, and I just helped them, and then another, and then another, and another. One of them was when I was abroad in 2014, and I met my brother's teacher in New York, and he was with a walking cane, and I said, "All right, I can help you." And he said, no, thank you. And I said, "I'm not asking you. I'm telling you." And he was like shocked. Who's this guy? Who does he think he is? And I don't think I'm anything. That's the thing. This is why I could tell him these words. And we just started breathing and contracting the sphincters and just doing some Kundalini yoga exercises, which I was into from 2006. And this guy from a walking cane, after dozens of therapists had treated him with no results, I was saying, "What's your pain level?" And he said, "I'm shocked, 0." And I said, "All right, listen, I'm going back to Israel. We can Skype if you want."
Skype.
Skype at the time, yeah. Prehistoric software. And he said, "Whatever it takes." And within 3 weeks, he was pain-free. And I myself was shocked because it took me like 2 decades. So I'm helping this person, and I'm refining the techniques for myself through helping him. So I was so passionate about it. And he said, "I'm pain-free." And then this guy called me from LA, Kenny, 2014. I heard you helped Ronnie. Can you help me? I said, "Yeah, but why are you addressing me? There's so many therapists in the US. He said, "Because you helped him." I said, "All right, I'll do this with you." Within 4 weeks, we finished, and he was pain-free, and he was saying, "Sit down, little boy." And I said, "What?" And he said, "You just got me out of a wheelchair."
Wow.
And it's been over 10 years since that day, and it was 3 a.m. Israel time, and I couldn't believe it. I had tears in my eyes. I couldn't believe this was happening because it's far greater than I'd ever imagined. And until today, we're so good friends. And suddenly I noticed that from the will and passion to help myself, the results for others are even far greater than I'd ever imagined. And then people were out of wheelchairs, out of herniated discs, out of fibromyalgia. I didn't even know that disease. And then this woman came up to me. She couldn't move. She was 68 at the time. She's 78 today. And she had fibroid. I said, "Okay, what's fibroid?" And she said, "Yeah, the doctor said." And I said, "Listen, don't tag yourself with what they say you have. You have 2 things that you have to do. Physical work, wake up your body, and mental work, wake up your mind. Those are the 2 things that you have to do. And if you don't do them, you create an autoimmune system, meaning that
The body's attacking itself.
The body's attacking itself, but the mind, like you were saying before, is attacking itself.
Right.
So what you have to do is put that label to the side if you want to work with me, because I'm going to teach you how to nurture yourself physically and mentally. And that woman, within 9 weeks, was out of fibro. She couldn't move a millimeter. And within 9 weeks, she was starting to dance again. And it's been over a decade. And she's been winning Latin dance competitions worldwide year after year after year.
Amazing.
Which is crazy. And ever since, there have been over 6,000 people, and over 250,000 people quick fixing themselves. But let's talk about the mindset. You cannot do this if you still think that someone else will treat you. You can't do that. Because like I was saying at the beginning, gravity pulls you down all the time. What's the mental gravity? Your previous habits. They will pull you down all the time. And you have to learn how to overcome these habits mentally, but while being soft towards yourself and not being pushy towards yourself too much.
Well, hold on. So I want to organize this. First of all, starting with you, it sounds like what you do is it's very similar to the adage of Abraham Lincoln. You know, if you want to chop down a tree and you only have 5 hours, use 4 hours to sharpen the axe. You invest that time in your children, in your body, in your soul.
Yes.
That allows you, that gives you that nurturing. By the way, it's something I'm very bad at. You know, one of the things that I'm learning, especially post brain surgery and everything, is that I don't know many people that know how to do like I do. I'm a huge doer, but I'm very shitty at being. I don't know how to be in that place that you take that time to stop your day and write and meditate and study and really be present. That allows you to come in ready to deal with everything that's going to come your way, even these conditions that you've never heard of, which allows you to give that much more. Which I know it sounds funny because a lot of people might be hearing this and they're saying, okay, well, they're getting really spiritual, philosophical. I truly believe that when it comes to mental toughness, there is a philosophical base of being able to balance between doing and being. Now, once you have that, then you're moving into this place that you're giving. With that, and I say this because we've had conversations about this, I've talked to my students about this, these changes will not last.
Exactly.
If you're not in, look, to teach people the mentality is one thing. To teach them how to apply it and maintain it over time, I think that is one of the biggest challenges that we face. And I'm curious, what do you do to make sure they say that Kenny, that this dancer, that all these people for the next 20, 30, how many years they have, God willing, that they wake up with this mentality every day, because it dies out eventually.
Yes. You need a group of like-minded people to hold you accountable.
100%.
Okay. I learn every day with my group. Every day I learn with my group as a student. That holds me accountable to keep on doing my work. My students also know that their teacher, and I don't like calling myself a teacher. I like calling myself a student.
But you are what you are.
But I broadcast on Zoom, all right? So I help these people.
We'll call you the Zoom host.
Okay. I tell them that I learn with them.
Right.
All right. So they know that I'm into this 24/7, that I'm learning, and that's what holds them accountable. And if they don't come to the group calls, then they decrease. They go back. They fall back.
Grow or die?
Exactly. Grow or die. So mentally and physically. So we always decrease if we don't do anything about it. We always go back if we don't go forward. So you must have a group to hold you accountable. People were asking me about the back pain doctor Dr. Sarno, which is he's amazing, and many of people that read his books came to my groups and they said the huge difference is, other than the fact that you talk about physical as well and he talks about mental, which is great as well, but we have this group to hold us accountable. A working group. If you don't have a working group holding you accountable for mental work, and a physical group for holding you accountable for the physical work, then you decrease, you go back. You want to swim in a pool
with sharks. You want to be a shark.
You want to be a shark, but you want to swim in a pool that's comfortable for you to go up and down, right or left, and to develop. You want to feel that that's a good place for you, that you choose to develop.
But it also has to be a challenging place, because
of course
the scary word you said there, and again, I think it's I call it the comfort crisis.
Yeah, I'm not talking about being in the comfort zone where you're not getting out of there. No. That's why I'm saying you have to have a study group
That's right.
where you trust the person that's leading the group to lead you. You choose the group. You don't have to follow. You develop within that group. And if you feel that one group, by the way, you've had enough with it, give a small thank you and head on to the next group where you grow.
I always tell my students, you are the average of the 5 people you associate with most.
Yeah.
Now, the difference is, and it's one of the scariest things, is I call it a friend audit. Like, I know this can sound absolutely disgusting to a lot of people, but if you come to my course, we actually do this as an activity that you choose the 5 people that you're most associated with. You give them a score 1 to 10, how much they are actually helping you progress personally, professionally, academically, relationship, etc. Then you look at the average and you say, is this average enough to help me to get to the next level? And if the answer is yes, you do everything you can to reciprocate and take care of them. But if the answer is no, you cut one of the losers. And I'm saying it very aggressively. Not, I never want to talk to you again. It's, I'm investing my time in someone that can get me higher, and you invest back in them. And now this community that you're talking about, it's beyond the accountability. It creates a level that you say, look, I am committed to them. And I think this goes back to where we started everything with giving. It's, I have no doubt that when Kenny is succeeding, other people are looking at Kenny and saying, if he can, I can. But Kenny also within himself is understanding, they're looking at me and saying, if I can, they can. And it only enhances his performance over time. So there has to be that commitment.
Yeah,
I agree.
I want to give another insight about that. So we change our environments, we change places where we live, we change, the parents of our children that we hang out with, etc. What I see as far more important is once you move, it's like having the ripple effect. So once you move, you either want to learn from others, which is great, or you recreate your environment time after time after time. So once you drop something into the water, you see the ripple effect all around you. Whenever you make a change mentally in your mindset, I call this mind shift healing. This is something that I teach my English speaking students. We all have our first primary way of thinking. We have 2 operating systems within us. We have the personal operating system, which is our natural tendencies, etc., our DNA, our family that we grew up with, the environment, etc. And we have the self-operating system, which means that there's something far superior than what the eye can see that already exists within us. Many people will call it God, divine, or whichever, and it's already within us. All we have to do is to ignite it. Once you ignite your inner self, meaning that you pass or you overcome your limiting personal system, then you recreate an environment again and again and again from zero. So if you move somewhere else, if your kids go to another school, if you suddenly have to teach them something, where do you come from? Do you come from the people that you take your energy from around you, or do you do your inner private personal work and recreate an environment again and again and again? So we have 2 options in life. Like you were saying, it's 1 or 0. You either affect or be affected.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's, in Hebrew, the word affect is mashpia, and abundance is shefa. So do you want to get abundance from the exterior world, creating a false communication with the universe saying, please help me, give me money, give me love, give me whatever I need? Or do you affect people and first and foremost affect yourself and lead yourself, and therefore as a direct outcome you get abundance? Because abundance is not only about money or about receiving love or etc. It's about first of all loving yourself, affecting yourself, nurturing yourself, not on account of anyone else, but recreating another environment time after time after time. And this is the work, by the way, of the entrepreneur in the business world.
That's right.
He wants to create better environments. I'm talking about the people that go, sincerely, do this sincerely. You create a good environment for yourself and allowing others to gain their tools as well, and affecting others as well. That's all there is. And I think that's the essence of life, because life equals giving. First of all, give yourself, nurture yourself, early in the morning, and then throughout the whole day, you help others. And you must train the mental and you must train the physical alongside.
I can go on for hours, and I want to go on for hours, but I do have my consistent questions. There are questions that I ask all of my guests, and I'm curious to hear your answers in regards to this. But before that, I do want to summarize things that were said here. We talk about, when we're talking about how this world of mental toughness comes through your world. First of all, it's about giving, which, by the way, with my research, what I found in my research is that there's a combination between the values of achievement, right? We want to be successful, the best, the fastest, etc., while also by being driven by benevolence, right? This sense of giving to our community, which in theory are supposed to be two values that contradict one another. But, I call this competitive contribution, that on one hand, I'm competitive, but I'm competitive because I want to contribute to the world. And we didn't talk so much about the achievement side. However, I'm actually more happy that we gave more focus to the benevolence because, yes, that's what the giving is about, and whoever really understands that knows that. The second thing we talked about is how it starts with you, right? I think we've talked about this quote many times, that a tree that does not get water cannot give fruit.
Exactly.
And that's what you do, right? I want to rephrase this because I think people don't understand the warrior mentality that you have, because I know that if there's anyone I'm going to war with, I choose Neil first. No, but why do I say this? Because one of the reasons why, and I know you, one of the reasons why you invest so much time in preparing yourself, in teaching your kids, right? In its time, its energy can be exhausting, is because you understand that the game is fucking hard. And you understand that pain will come. Suffering is a choice, but you understand that it's hard and it's going to come after you, which is why you invest this time. It's almost as if you're preparing all these different elements of your bulletproof vest in order to prepare for what's coming. Then once you have that, it is that much more easy. It's that much easier to be able to go out into the world and serve that value that you wanted to give. And the last thing I want to remind our audience about is this level of accountability. You and I, we've talked about this many times, this sense of victimhood.
Yeah.
Right? And self-victimization isn't just, I'm this little poor guy, whatever. It's just we have succumbed so fast. We no longer take responsibility for ourselves, for the conditions. Yes, you should be always that student first. You should always be learning. But that place that you make yourself the victim, you can't play the game that way.
You can't play the game that way, but that's miseducation worldwide.
Right.
People, it all begins by what we were talking about. Let's take a family, for example. The husband, without doing the work, he wants to get his love, his appreciation, and it's natural, by the way. This is why we talk about the supernatural way. He wants to get his appreciation from his wife or from his kids. Mm-hmm. He wants people to see him. Wrong. The wife wants to get her appreciation from her husband and her kids. Wrong. That's the natural way. The supernatural way is, do you appreciate yourself? Regardless of your wife, regardless of your kids. Do you eat in the morning first? Do you nurture yourself first? Do you give yourself the place to express yourself, to notice the inner parts of yourself that you inherited, for example, from your parents, from your environment, and do that work in and of itself? And then, let's say it's 5 a.m., and let's say by 7 a.m., you gave yourself, by 8 a.m., I invest a lot in my morning. So I invest a few hours in myself, and then when I'm out to the world, I'm not searching for appreciation from anyone. That's the natural tendency, and it'll always be there. But the dosage of it goes so small that you're not waiting for someone else to give you their attention. You gave yourself as much attention as you need.
That's right.
And then you go out to the world helping others. And suddenly, what do you help them do? You help them connect to them as well. And of course that we have fallbacks, and of course we're all human, and we have the human part of us, the natural primary part. But we help others connect with themselves first, not demanding to get that appreciation or that love or whatever from other people. That is the root of all bad and victimized mindset.
I agree.
If you notice that a victim has two attributes. The first, you blame others. The second, you justify yourself. Once you notice that you just fell into one of those attributes, then notice you just fell into the victimized mindset. That's like the first primary, most important tip. If you just notice that you blamed someone or you justified yourself, notice you just fell into that victim mindset. If you did, it's okay. It's a part of you, but it does not represent you. If it's a part of you, then you can carry on and change that mindset to something effective, meaning first, nurture yourself, give yourself the 2 minutes to observe that, notice that, and do a mind shift. Shift your mind from blaming others or justifying yourself to just helping you, and then help others with a small, I call this a partial thing, that you can just help someone else, and you're out of that mindset, because it's like a hose. Either water comes out, and if there's vacuum, you just put the hose, water comes in. Contaminous water comes in. So you want to affect, and if you just notice that you just fell into that victim mindset, we all have that inside as a potential, just change that. And you have to do the work in order to know how to do this as quickly as possible.
You remind me, I always carry in my backpack Marcus Aurelius' book is Meditations. Now, why? I've had the book in my backpack for 10 years, and I've never finished the book, because I think this is the kind of podcast that you have to listen to 44 times, and you have to hear one sentence and just go deep and think about it. I want to ask you a few quick fix questions. These are not quick fix, these are my quick questions that I ask each of my guests. I want you to be concise, and yes, you'll understand where it goes from there. So first of all, in respect to your world, pain-free back and Gavchik, define mental toughness in one sentence.
Mental toughness, it may appear to the exterior world as toughness, but it's allowing yourself to be vulnerable towards yourself.
No one talks about that.
Allow yourself. I'm not talking, people post, I'm vulnerable towards others, etc. That's not mental toughness. That's just trying to gain attention from others. Mental toughness is about you allowing yourself to be as open as you can on a daily basis forever, being vulnerable towards yourself, observing yourself, opening up towards yourself. Mental toughness is something that appears to the exterior world, but you be softer yourself in the interior world.
Very, very difficult to apply. But yes, I couldn't agree with you more.
And again, you have to have a study group to make that happen.
So give me one action item or golden piece of advice for the listeners that they can act in order to build their mental toughness in alignment with yours.
Allow yourself between 5 and 10 minutes in the morning. It could be even 1 minute. It could even begin with, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. I don't want to write this. Just put it on paper. Start conversing with yourself on a daily basis. Morning, when you wake up, you wash your face, you brush your teeth. Just prepare that note or physical paper or doc, whatever you want, and start talking to yourself in the morning. Just tell yourself anything. The best way is also, I use a system with a guiding sentence that guides you. For example, use this first one. You can't drive away darkness. You can only add a drop of light.
Fair.
Write about this. Just write about this in the morning. What does that tell you? And then carry on to your day. And the next day, do that again. And find whichever sentences or whichever theory or whichever mindset that clicks to you right now, because you're going to change throughout your life. And start writing in the morning. And be vulnerable towards yourself. You will see that many layers that you kept inside are starting to open up only because of the fact that you recognize them and talk about them. So begin from that.
So I know I'm already knowing what the answer to this next question is going to be, because we talked about it. But when I define mental toughness, also in my research and in my course, I talk about 3 core pillars. I talk about values as drivers of behavior. I talk about accepting that there will be endless challenges, that there are no happily ever afters, and having an unshakable self-confidence. So before we wrap things up, these last 3 questions in regards to that. Number 1, in one word, what is the value that keeps you grounded during the hardest times?
The value that keeps me grounded.
When you're facing a world that just wants to explode in your face, nothing is going your way, and there's something that's driving you. What is the most important value that drives you through all the hard challenges?
I am nothing.
I'm dying to say explain, but we don't have time to explain.
You said one word. So, I am nothing. It's not about me. And if this is the way things are and I gave my best, I'm going to carry on to the next partial step because I don't know anything. And if I don't know anything, it allows me to keep on to the next step without knowing anything and allow life to reveal itself in front of me.
So how do you... Man, this is a whole new podcast, this question about how do, in one sentence, how do you stop pain from turning into suffering?
Well, suffering is the interpretation of pain.
That's right.
So if you, in Hebrew, by the way, sevel is from taking it, lesabel, putting it on yourself. Mm-hmm. So our mind likes to interpret things in a way that, is this good for me or is this bad for me? This is where we go wrong. It is what it is. Pain is there.
I always tell people, like, is the cup half full or half empty? I'm like, fuck it, you have a cup.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So you just use what you're given. Just use what you're given. If you're given pain is only an alert system, by the way. We didn't talk about that as well, but that's a huge thing in and of itself.
I talk about it a lot with my, also with this audience and also with my students. But
pain is an alert system.
So something is wrong. That's all it does. That's
all job. It does. It's like an alert, on the browser, or alert, if the fire alarm or whatever. So the huge difference between pain and suffering is that suffering, again, you're blaming, my body betrayed me, I fell accidentally. Again, you're blaming something, and it's your victim talking, it's not you.
That's right.
So if it's your victim talking, your victim will be suffering all the time because something is in its way. Mm-hmm. Pain is just there, and its role is to wake you up to start solving things from the root. So that's a huge difference between the two.
Last question. What... Again, you've answered all of them, but what has been the most effective practice in building your unshakable self-confidence?
The daily
mental
work. The daily mental work, because tomorrow I'm going to forget all about it, and if I don't do anything about it, I'll fall into my victim mindset.
I don't want this podcast to end. I want to thank Nir Yogev. For more information, go to painfreeback.com. .co. If you're in Israel and you want to run this in Hebrew, go to Gavchik. I'm telling you, as a person who has been gifted by the opportunity to be saved by Nir several times, I've had some very hard injuries through my marathon training, all the crazy, crazy things I've done over the years. And again, if you're willing... I'll just sharply put this message out there. If you are willing to put in that mental work to join that community, to engage in an active way that you're going to change this mindset, what will happen is you'll learn the quick fixes, you'll learn all the tools to relieve yourself of that pain-free back. But B, and again, we didn't say this because we stayed focused on that, you will become a fucking champion. Like, I'm saying this because you know this, you're one of my personal mentors. I come to you now, not just because Nir helped me, how can I fix my back, but because we talk about this mentality time and time again. Make sure you're not a victim. You are one of those people that make sure to lift me up, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, to be at that place. And I'm saying this again because I said this earlier. I really think this is the type of podcast that you should listen to again. Hear the questions, the statements that Nir said. Put them out there in front of yourself. Be vulnerable with yourself, which honestly just means be completely naked in front of yourself. You don't have to take off your clothes, but just truly look at yourself in a way that you say, this is who I am. This is what I am. Let's build from here. Create that daily routine. Make sure you're giving others. And this is a whole different philosophical but truly deep approach that I think everyone needs in order for mental toughness. And so again, I really want to thank Nir for being here today. Aside from that, I want to thank Audioversity for helping us create this content. And if you're interested in finding more ways to build your mental toughness, go to www.themtdoc.com, where you'll find links to connect via LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and the private WhatsApp group where you can get weekly messages of how to build your mental toughness, or just reach out to me personally via Doron, DORON, at themtdoc.com. And with that, I want to remind you, the game will only get harder, which is why we have to get stronger. So until next time, learn, apply, and keep building your mental toughness. I'll see you in the next episode.